Well, hey, let's bring in a Republican governor from the great state of Minnesota. He is Governor Tim Pawlenty. Governor, thank you so much for being with us. Things not looking so good for Republicans in your home state right now, are they?
Well, first of all, I think Pat does get better with age, like scotch or a fine wine.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
That's a good point.
Well, in Minnesota, Minnesota's always a challenging state for Republicans, but we can win here with the right year and the right candidate. And I think with a maverick, populist, kind of straight shooter like John McCain, he's got a shot, although Barack Obama does have the advantage at the moment.
Yeah, what's happened in Minnesota? Why are people breaking away from John McCain as quickly as they are?
Well, I wouldn't say they're breaking away, Joe. It's always been a bit of an uphill climb for Senator McCain, and until the economic collapse, the polls were about tied here. And more recently, depending on what poll you look at, it's, a 5 or 6 point race in some of the polls. So it's not so far out of range that it's implausible, but he's going to have to pick up some ground in the closing days.
Governor, Republicans in Washington are hoping, of course, that all of their candidates win, but there are a few that are praying to the political gods that Al Franken becomes a United States Senator. That's even looking like that may happen.
Well, Al Franken, of course, is an unusual candidate for, a lot of reasons. And I would have said 6 months ago he was unelectable, but the polls now have tightened up to the point. But one thing to keep an eye on, there's a third-party candidate in that race that's getting about 18% of the vote. That's likely to recede a bit as we get closer to Election Day in a tight race. Those votes will get redistributed, I think, in favor of Norm Coleman. He's going to win the race, in my view.
Governor, back to John McCain. How does he turn it around with just a few days left here? How many are we? 13 days left?
12.
12 days left. Does he need to streamline his message?
I think a couple of basic messages are most powerful, Mika. First of all, we don't want the country to be run by a runaway train of Democrat ideas and bad liberal ideas. We need a check and balance on that, so having Senator McCain there would do that, plus he can work across the party aisle to get things done. Number two, I'd continue to push the idea that Barack Obama is not experienced. He'd be the least prepared president in modern history of the country. And then third, he's out of the mainstream even in terms of centrist or center-left politics. He is an extreme liberal. And so those are three themes that I think would concern the country and give people a chance to have a second look at Senator McCain.
Liberal being a bad word these days.
Right.
Governor Tim Pawlenty, thank you very much.
Governor, thank you so much for being with us. As always,
Go Gophers.
Go Gophers.